Hello everyone, and welcome to another live stream event. Thank you for taking this opportunity to join us across the globe. Folks from all parts of the world are tuning in. I see people checking in from UAE, Slovenia, Denmark, Wales, and right here in the US. So nice to see you all. For those of you who are new, my name is Crystal. I'm with Ascension One Collective, the foundation that supports the work of the channel, and I'm here today to guide you into and out of the session. We've been offering these bi-weekly live stream events to deepen our practice at home. In last week's series, we explored alignment within and alignment without. This week, we're exploring duality and non-duality. As always, we have some newcomers, so I'm going to share a little bit to give those folks context for the work. Raphael studied within various spiritual traditions over the last 18 years. 5 years ago, he had a strong spiritual experience that opened up this connection that today we refer to as the channel. This is a connection of both powerful energy and wisdom that during the sessions he will embody and bring through. Through this connection, energy will come through him and reach all of those who are tuning into the live stream. This energy will allow you to go deeper into your meditation, as well as receive information, which will often take the form of a spoken transmission, or, in your own way, visions, messages, or an inner knowing. The process for a seal to get into trance includes spontaneous movements of his body and hands, sometimes shaking of his body, fast breathing, and as the energy level rises, sometimes his eyes will roll upwards. It may not seem it, but this is all normal. His everyday human consciousness is still available to him while he's channeling, and he can stop the embodiment at any time. The channel will bring through guides that will specifically introduce themselves with the names humanity has given them. You may recognize some of the names as angels or archangels, but they never refer to themselves as such. Once the energy field is established, then an energetic alignment begins. People report having powerful experiences even over the live stream, so it's really easy. During this time, sit back and focus on being in an open, meditative state. Just by being receptive, you've included yourself in the energy field, so there's nothing else you need to do. During the session, you may also bring in a loved one into your mind and heart and have them receive the benefits as well. You can set an intention. You can release any old wounds, thoughts, emotions that no longer serve you. People share often that things come up for them even in the absence of an intention. So flow with that also, and just accept all that arises. Once the energy alignment is complete, a seal will embody another celestial being who usually allows for questions to be asked. This is typically who we call Emmanuel. If you'd like to ask a question, feel free to type it into the Questions tab at the bottom of the screen in Crowdcast. The production team will then choose a few questions to ask the channel from the list. Keep in mind, there are a few hundred people watching this right now, so center yourself before you ask the question. And ask yourself, what's the best way to ask this question that would serve the most people? We found that Emmanuel's answers are typically phrased in a way that serves the greater good, so if you're looking for a personal answer, the answer may not align with your expectations. The energy field pulls us into an interesting collective state, so you may find that if you have a question in your mind, you receive the answer in somebody else's question, or silently inside yourself. We have a Crowdcast poll running at the Polls tab at the bottom of the screen. We'd like to know how this work impacts you. It's one question at the beginning, how are you doing before the session? And one after the session. With a simple scale from 1 to 5, it's very easy to answer, so please take a second now and let us know how you're doing. For people who can offer a donation, it not only supports a seal, but it supports the whole production team. Many of you donated to the last session and have already donated to this one. It's truly appreciated, and it really helps us keep this work accessible. We have links to donation options in the chats. We invite you to listen with an open mind and an open heart. We recommend that you listen in a space where you can't be interrupted and you turn your phone off. We also recommend you stay tuned in through the entire session. You will know when we're moving from one part to the next. If you're in a deep meditative state at the end of the energy transmission, it's okay if you can't hang on to every word thereafter. The benefit of staying with us is what's most important, and the words can be replayed and read later. We are recording the audio and the video, and will provide you the video and transcript following the event on our website and social media pages. As the session ends, we will sit together in silence for a few minutes and give you all enough time to come back into this state of awareness. Enjoy your journey. I'll see you back here upon your return.
Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us. The last couple months, the last couple days, the last couple years, the last decades, the last centuries, there's always been something that we had to deal with, something difficult, something challenging, something that arises within us, that arises within humanity, human consciousness. And sometimes we will feel these energies that arise inside of us. Light and dark co-inhabit this entire existence. When we embody a lot of light, then it will bring up all the challenges that we haven't seen. The shadows of our being start to become visible through the light that comes into us. We get to see aspects of ourselves that we thought we had processed a long time ago. We get to feel the aspects of humanity that were thought to be well handled or well managed, suppressed or coped with, and that we wouldn't have to do it. But here we are. Some of you are indeed in service and pillars of light. Some of you are advanced practitioners. Some of you may be new to this kind of work or any type of spirituality. This work is for everyone, and it will most likely bring up elements of your being for everyone. So you learn to navigate what comes up. You learn to observe and understand the entire spectrum of what is inside of you. You learn to understand the conditions you have established for love. And you learn to understand how to move even closer to a deep, unconditional love as a source of your life, of your existence. This work is to get all of us closer to that. Thank you for your trust, and thank you for walking this path alongside with me and sharing this journey. See you soon. Greetings, I'm Raphael. You have seen and witnessed the duality in all of existence. Duality exists in a spectrum. While you may perceive darkness as the most negative aspects of your existence and lightness as the most positive aspects of your existence, many elements exist in the spectrum. Between light and dark are infinite number of forms, infinite number of emotions, infinite number of energies and thoughts. The mind has the tendency to categorize what it experiences, and this categorization is individually established. These standards and beliefs that are established by the individual are established in this lifetime through upbringing, education, and personal experiences. An uncomfortable and difficult to process experience will often be labeled as a negative experience. All experience is similar. In the future will be labeled equally, and that belief around that particular experience that originated this feeling, this emotion, will become firm and strengthened by continuous interpretation and labeling. A life that is lived openly, freely, in the deepest connection and the highest potential possible will require for you to observe in all the ways you have established meaning to your experiences in your life, to the experiences that you observe in humanity, the emotions that arise in the presence of another human being, in the presence of societal challenges. This becomes the opportunity you will learn to pause your identification of this and other moments. You will observe the moment with an open mind and an open heart. You will observe the feelings and the thoughts that arise. You will observe the opportunity of this moment to learn, to experience, and to realize. Every realization dismantles existing beliefs, creates a new foundation for more possibilities to unfold. Duality the way it is experienced, can become the most important teacher in human existence. As you observe the light and the dark balancing itself within you and within this existence, you learn how this creation perfectly provides for all that is needed for a consciousness like yourselves to grow. The impulse is provided by your environment, and it will bring forth all that is required to be processed and transformed within you. Merely observation can be enough. Observation knows no interpretation. Observation is not judgment. It is not categorization. It is not an emotion. Observation is unbiased. Observation appreciates in all the ways this very moment provides information and insight. This will become an important pillar of your life. A foundational aspect of your self-realization journey, of your growth process, of society's growth process. You will learn from the observations the way you think and the way you act will change accordingly, and new forms of challenges will arise for you to test your ability to observe without judgment, to perceive with your heart that has the ability to be sourced in an unlimited way from this love of creation that surrounds all of you and all of existence. You are therefore always connected and always supported. This will be your guiding light to face any challenge that arises. The work that we will provide today will allow for an easier ability to observe all that arises, a slight distance from the emotion that creates reaction. This slight distance is sufficient to observe even more in a balanced and unbiased way. You have all proclaimed to be ready. You have all allowed yourself to be here and to receive. My invitation to you is to open your hearts and to receive fully all that you can, all that you can beyond any limitations that you are consciously aware of or subconsciously establish themselves within you. This is our gift to humanity. Thank you for receiving. Thank you for receiving this work. My work is complete. Greetings. My name is Emmanuel. In this very moment, you exist. All those around you exist. In a collaborative effort, human consciousness creates this reality, including all the challenges, including all experiences, thoughts, emotions, judgments, all creations, and part of humanity's desire to expand, desire to evolve as a consciousness. The individual's evolution, therefore, is its most powerful impact on the evolution of human consciousness. In which ways have you allowed yourself to evolve? In which ways have you allowed yourself to let go of existing beliefs and structures established a long time ago? Emotional and mental structures, energetic structures that have kept you in a specific trajectory, in a specific life, with specific experiences. In which ways have you allowed yourself to evolve beyond the perception of yourself? What is indeed possible when you step outside of the confinements established by your mind and your heart, of the confinements established by society, education, and the previous generations' perspectives on life? Evolution looks different for everyone, yet always provides for the evolution of all of consciousness. Allowing new experiences to arrive in your space, allowing yourself to experience the opportunities in your life fully, allowing yourself to integrate and to receive from those experiences the learnings, the wisdom, and the realizations, the expansion of your being, the expansion of your mind, the expansion of your heart, the expansion of your energetic and spiritual construct, the total expansion of your consciousness. This is the path to self-realization. In this expansion, you will experience more non-dual states, where you will understand that duality is part of the human experience, yet can be perceived differently. It can be received as a divine interplay that continuously balances and challenges the existing structures, including yourself. You are the center of this divine interplay, of this duality. Your ability to switch your perspective, to perceive your existence from a non-dual place, to perceive that all aspects of creation are divine. This will allow you to understand the fabric and the reality of this very moment. All elements of this moment will become even more visible, even more detailed. You are that person, that individual who has this ability to perceive duality and non-duality equally at the same time. And as you bring your non-dual perspective into your current presence, the way your actions are defined change. Others' perspectives around you changes. Their actions change. You operate from a bigger and wider perspective and presence of your being. This is your journey. Thank you for listening to my words. I will now answer some of your questions.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Marie asks, you have mentioned that there are forces who do not want humanity to evolve. Could you elaborate on this? Is there anything we can do to mitigate this influence?
Creative and destructive forces exist equally on this plane and in this reality. creation and destruction exists on the smallest scale as well as on the grandest scale perceivable by consciousness. Forces that you can perceive are the forces that are part of your actionable environment. Forces that are beyond your perception do not require your mental and emotional effort, as there will be other forces to balance that destructive force. As you can see, at every scale there is creation and destruction. Be concerned with the elements of destruction and creation within you, the destructive forces of your heart, destructive thoughts of your mind, destructive beliefs. Understand the creative forces within you and the eternal balance between that creation and destruction within you. Furthermore, expanded view on the creative and destructive forces within humanity. This will allow you to understand the interplay of your perspective scale. Destructive forces do not require to be combated or fought. Observation first. Understanding purpose, appreciating that purpose, and staying in the center between creation and destruction, fully alive, fully immersed in this love of creation within you. This will allow you to walk this path on this reality where creation and destruction are continuously in balance. Forces of grander scale will have other forces of equal scale to counter and balance. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Jack asks, how can a married couple relationship thrive when one awakens and the other person remains asleep?
The reason the other person is asleep is because your awakening is not complete. The other person's state continues to be the fuel for your awakening. It continues to be an aspect of understanding yourself and reality even better. Understanding in which ways the other person's state drives your emotions, drives your thoughts, and drives your perception of yourself and of others. Can you still stay connected and continuously observing and transmitting this divine unconditional love through you? As you can see, while every relationship is truly a choice. You may choose to observe this relationship as the single most important aspect of your life and of your awakening, as it will continue to provide in all the ways you require to grow. The other person's behaviors, interests, the other person's state of being will continue to transmute as you transmute. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Ben asks, there are theories that the reptilian part of the human mind has been forced upon humanity by outside forces to control us. Is there some truth to these theories, or just a part of our nature that needs to be healed?
The reptilian part of your brain is an aspect that was deemed to be relevant for your evolution. Understanding survival at its core was a prerequisite to operate in this material reality. It became an important element to observe moments of critical nature. Navigating through this physical reality, understanding that this vessel of yours is limited in certain aspects, and it carries conditions that require to be observed. That part of your being stayed within your perception, more than intuition, more than instinct. That part of humanity's mind started to influence other actions, other judgments, emotions. This is an aspect that was known to surface. It was an aspect to challenge the maturity of human consciousness, and the conflict that was understood, that was required to be overcome by an evolving consciousness. As you can see, that part of your being has served for you to be here in this very moment, and it is a part of you that requires to be understood, in which ways it influences your actions, your reactions, and your presence. Overcoming that part of your being will be a significant evolutionary step for all of humanity, as that part of your being operates in the dual and duality space. The evolved part of your consciousness will operate in non-dual states, yet in the right balance it will continue to provide for your existence in this form. Embrace all parts of your being as perfect, perfectly established, to provide exactly what is needed to be understood, to be realized. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Sim asks, how does one get past feeling stuck when you have an inner knowing that you are meant to follow a specific path, but just can't seem to get there?
certain structures in one person's evolution will remain solid and rigid until they fall. These structures are mental, emotional, environmental, energetic structures that establish themselves in the lifetime of a human being. The internal desire to awaken, the intrinsic desire to evolve as a consciousness will continuously push against the constructs that are limiting within one's being. This internal conflict will create discomfort, a discomfort that requires to be observed, to be understood. In which ways do you hold yourself within the constructs of your beliefs, of yourself, and of society, of others, of the environment, and of this reality? Which of these beliefs are you willing to dismantle, to reorganize, and to re-establish? And are you willing to go through the steps that are required to re-establish your perspectives, your beliefs, your emotional states, even your thoughts? Part of this evolutionary step will require some effort. Part of this evolutionary step will require surrender. Part of it will require quiet observation. And as you go through these 3 stages, continuously in cycles, you will start to see that the structures within your being will soften and allow for the intrinsic desire to evolve. To unfold in its most natural way, in its most powerful way. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Can you describe, asks CM, what is Raphael doing? Is the alignment removing attachments? Is he aligning us personally? The mudras feel like a beautiful orchestration.
The work that is delivered to you is of individual nature. The container that is established operates on the energetic levels of human consciousness. Containers of this kind can be established with the right authorization and with the right energy levels. The containers then are filled with those that are ready to receive the work. Each individual soul, each individual being in its energetic makeup is then analyzed and observed. It is determined to the degree of adjustment that this individual can receive. The adjustments on this energetic level have an impact on the emotional as well as mental body, eventually on the physical as well. It is indeed an alignment, yet far more than the alignment, it is an opening, a softening of your consciousness to allow its expansion with more ease, to allow a deeper perception of yourself. And this work that is delivered to you is delivered with precision, with deep understanding of the human form and all the elements of the human form, the mind, the heart, the energetic spiritual construct, as well as the physical construct. Any energies and forms that do not belong in the individual's form will be removed. Any attachments that are not completely processed will remain. Yet these attachments will become visible and will require the individual to observe in silence, to process and to move any existing blocks, attachments, and connections. This work that is initiated today will continue for several more days. In this part of your being, space and time do not exist in the same way that your physical form experiences. Therefore, the delivery into the moment will happen in the future as well as in the past. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Ali asks, please shed some light on what happens to the souls involved when a woman terminates her pregnancy.
The individualized soul that has been defined and designated to a specific mother understands the probability and the possibility of an interruption, and for this creation not to unfold. This designated soul sometimes will be reassigned to the same mother to return when different conditions allow for the return. In most cases, the individual soul will return to other possibilities of entry into human form, as it is ready to experience the human form, a new assignment, a new parent, a new set of experiences, even a different identity, different learnings in a different environment will be established. The possibility unfolds as the reassignment will provide a new potential experience for that soul that could not enter in this particular opening. The learnings are vast, even in the process of this interruption, for the mother, for its environment, as well as for the individual soul that has not entered through this opening. The bond will continue to provide for both the mother as well as the unborn. The bond will remain, will become an imprint within both of these soul containers. It will become another important experience in the evolution of the mother and the unborn. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Bernard asks, how important is embodiment at the moment? With ascension, it seems to be all about becoming non-dual material, but I'm feeling a pull toward deeper embodiment into the physical body.
Embodiment is a key element of your existence, and it will remain so until the very end. Your physical container requires you to fully understand its capacity, its capabilities. It will provide the energy necessary for the energy body, for the emotional and mental body to provide the learnings and understandings of your environment, of your reality. Forgoing the physical body in order to provide for a perceived path to ascension will be a limited experience. The evolution will be much harder, as the physical body requires to be in a solid, in an aligned and balanced state. Health comes from embodiment, fully experiencing the physical form in its beauty, in its power, in its balance, and in its lightness. Fully experiencing the way the mind and the heart and your energetic body are paired together in this being that you are. The physical form, therefore, is a temporary temple, a temporary vessel for you to fully embrace, to fully support until the very end of your being in human form. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Angela asks, I'm feeling a lot of anxiety and fear in my body to join work back tomorrow because the situation in the company isn't the same, additional responsibilities will need to be taken, and I'll be depressed to see others leave. Do you have any advice for me and those in a similar situation to continue the job? Will we be supported?
Yes, you will be. Stay present. Stay grounded. Stay open. Keep your mind and your heart open to understand the difficulties that those in your working environment are going through. Be compassionate. Be loving. be kind. The moment you bring your own fears and your anxiety into the space, it will perpetuate the others' fears, the others' emotions of loss, of uncertainty, of instability. The future is not certain. Even with all ways of humanity's preparation, the illusions that are established to keep the future predictable, it is not. Only when you truly are present can you face all potential futures equally. You may still feel the emotions that arise, yet even in the emotions that arise, you will be fully present. You will embrace all that arises in your being, all that arises in your life, even if it requires change. Loosen your attachments of a certain outcome and of a certain future. Loosen your attachments of other individuals' emotions, their perceptions, their desires, their wants. Allow yourself to feel, yet be truly present to your own feelings. Be present in the very moment that you have. The gifts of that moment, in all the ways the previous moments have served you to come to this very moment. Allow yourself to have the time for quiet contemplation, for rest, for nutrition in the ways adequate and designed for your body. Time in nature. Embrace the timelessness in the moment through meditation or other activities that create a similar perception. With these methods and a perspective shift, you will be able to face the difficulties at work as well as the difficulties in society. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Erica asks, in a past session, you mentioned there are souls that may not reach higher vibrational levels and stay in lower vibrational levels, learning in a place some of us know as hell. What do those souls learn in that level? And can a soul that is high level for a reason descend to lower levels?
The lessons that are required to be learned in lower levels of frequency of existence are the lessons that have not been learned in the human form. These experiences are recreated and allow for an understanding of the divine interplay between creation and destruction, understanding emotions that have not been processed, understanding experiences that have not been completed. This is a necessary aspect for the soul container as well as the aspects of human consciousness to fully finalize the unlearned elements of its existence. Individuals that have reached higher levels of frequency will not be required to return to lower levels of frequency. Even if requested, it will not be possible for a human soul container to return to lower levels of frequency, as the processed aspects of consciousness are now operating at a different level and allow for new learnings to arise. This is the way this construct has been established, and other constructs before. Humanity will learn in all the ways that is available, in all the ways that is accessible. Every experience will provide for evolution. Individual souls that have completed the learnings in lower planes of existence may truly increase the frequency of their existence and reach higher planes eventually. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Alexandra asks, I have begun to understand past traumatic events in my life, and a fear and anxiety has surfaced. I'm having difficulty handling these feelings. What can one do to help process releasing, letting go, and overcoming this?
Traumas of the past will arise for those individuals that seek the evolutionary step of growth and realization. The realizations must occur from the experiences had of the past. The experience of the past will carry deep emotional imprints. These emotions have been with you since the experience. The emotions have been enforced through other experiences similar of its kind. It is time to fully explore the emotions that are with you, that are tied to a past experience. First, envision the emotion that is within you. Understand the purpose of all emotions. This particular emotion that is tied to an old memory, allow the emotion to take you to the memory, understanding that is merely an imprint of the past and can no longer bring the same pain that it brought in the moment of the experience. You are safe to explore. Observe the experience of the past with compassion. Feel from your perspective the emotions that arise. Any unexpressed emotions can now be felt and expressed. Tears might flow. Anger might rise. Grief may be felt. Shame may come to surface, as well as other emotions. It is worthwhile to explore these emotions, to allow them to move through you. Do not resist. Allow this process to complete. Once the emotion has been felt and expressed, it is time to change your observation perspective from yourself to the other individuals or beings involved. Observe their emotions, their perspectives, their intent. Observe their lives all the way through. All the experiences they might have had to come to this culmination of this moment with you. Continue observing all participants, yourself and others, and eventually move your perspective further up, removed from any individual, observing this experience, this divine moment from a higher perspective, the importance of this moment to occur, the importance of this moment to be experienced by yourself and by others, by human consciousness, to learn what was and is the learning, what is the realization. Let yourself feel this realization and give gratitude for the opportunity of this realization to arise. Allow the infinite and unconditional love of creation to fill this moment of the past, all participants, including yourself. The transformation of that moment will start to transform your current life, as the energy of that moment will carry no longer charge, emotional or mental charge. This will allow you to be more present and at ease, even with similarly arising situations. If the emotion returns, return back in the same way. Process the past to become more present. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Shen Shen asks, I am passionate about the wisdom of indigenous people, and I believe it's important to preserve their culture, language, and knowledge. Can you speak to the role they play in our collective and give advice on how I might contribute to their well-being?
Indigenous people of this world, of this human iteration, have understood the connection of non-material existence to material existence. They have understood the connection of various material forms, animals, trees, nature, this earth. the solar system and all the celestial bodies. This deep intrinsic understanding of nature, deep intrinsic understanding of existence, of connection to a deeper truth within, of operating from this deeper truth within to bring forth actions that are balanced with nature, a deeper understanding of the heart, of values that carry forth through hundreds and thousands of years. While there is deep wisdom that is established within indigenous communities and lineages, while there is deep wisdom that has been lost, yet never forgotten and always present in human consciousness, you become one with all of their wisdom by opening your consciousness to participate and to accept and receive. This may indeed be through connecting with these indigenous communities and lineages directly, yet the possibility is available to connect indirectly through opening your consciousness to the wisdom that is established in human consciousness by all the indigenous communities that have lived before. Allow yourself to receive. Allow yourself to integrate this wisdom. There is no particular request of you other than to really evolve and to truly embrace your evolution and self-realization. The actions that you will set with every realization that you have are yours. You may choose to act in the benefit of those that require your assistance. You may choose to act on behalf of those that want your presence. Yet all these actions are additional fuel for your self-realization. While others will benefit, you will benefit as well. You become a creative force in the world. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Shawnee asks, a very close friend of mine passed several years ago, and I wasn't able to say goodbye. It has been hard to process his departure, but I try to connect directly with him. I wonder, when do souls reincarnate? Is he still somewhere out there to connect with?
An individualized soul, upon its completion in an iteration, will be moved to a process that is considered a cleansing and resetting of the previous lifetime, a completion of the learnings, a completion of the realizations. This process may take observed years in human form. The process is different for every single individual, as the learnings and the completions may still operate that human personality and identity of themselves until it is complete. The entirety of the personality and identity is then established in the records of human consciousness. The soul container is now available for a re-entry, for new lessons and realizations to be had in a new form and a new identity. Your desire for the connection, the imprint that this individual left within you, the deep connection of emotional, of spiritual, and of mental nature is still with you. The imprint of his identity may continue in the records, and you may access the individual's being through deep contemplation and reflection. Yet the soul container of the individual has continued on and is established in a new iteration with a new personality, identity, and a new set of experiences, many new realizations and relationships to provide for further growth and evolution. Find peace in your heart for the continued cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Brandon asks, over the last few months, I have been working actively on my stress levels while awake. But while I sleep in, the stress all comes pouring out in the form of nightmares and extreme teeth gnashing. Do you have any recommendations that may help calm the unconscious dream state?
All that is subconscious and unconscious will be revealed soon. All aspects of your being that require to be processed will become available for you to process. Suppression, management, and navigating through emotions, through judgments, and experiences of the past is not sufficient. True observation and realization of the past is required. Re-evaluate the ways you have coped with the past, you have managed your being. Understand in all the ways that you have not fully completed elements of your past. Allow for these aspects of your being to come to surface through your unconscious and subconscious mind. Allow these processes to take their time. Allow yourself to fall apart and rebuild once again. You will see that your dream states will no longer require to process the aspects of the past. The unconscious and the subconscious of your being will now be brought to the conscious for completion. Thank you for your question. Thank you for the time that you have set aside for yourself, for your evolution, and for becoming the most aligned, the most present individual of your life. Thank you. Thank you for joining on this journey. It is a true blessing to see so many of you go through this experience, go through growth, evolution, no matter how hard it is, no matter what comes up. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. Don't give up. Keep going. And we'll always be there for you. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. Take your time to come back into your body. Take any extra time you need in a sitting or lying position, or stay in this state as long as you need to. As we're coming back, I have a few gentle closing remarks. If you'd like to continue this journey, there are a few ways to do it. We have social media pages like Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube that you can follow and share. You can invite family, friends, and community to these bi-weekly sessions. You can join our Monday integration calls. We've recently released our first book, Transmission, available on Amazon, and we'll be setting up a self-guided deep dive into various subjects covered in the book. These sessions are just one part of the work that we do. We also travel to both sacred sites and sites of global trauma to do energy alignment work. Once we are able to travel again, we will resume a tour through Europe and take a group of participants on a retreat to Greece. This work is possible because of donations we receive. It not only supports Aseel, but it supports the whole production team. As you would imagine, it takes a village to bring the channel to this space and then beam it out to all of you. If you find this of value, please consider supporting this session with a donation. And there are 3 ways to do this. If you are in Crowdcast, there's a donate button at the bottom of your screen. There's also 2 donate buttons on the left side of the homepage at aseeltoksal.com. Or you can donate via PayPal, paypal.me/ascension1, or become a patron Patreon patron. Patreon.com/Ascension1. A quick reminder about the ending poll. In the beginning, we asked you how you were feeling. We'd like to ask the same question. Simply click on the poll button at the bottom of the Crowdcast screen and let us know how you're doing right now. If you want to share deeper about your experiences, we have a community call on Mondays. We also created an email address, testimonial@ascension.one. Energy work is felt in so many ways, and it's helpful for us to have an understanding of how you're impacted. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for contributing your presence and your time. Despite being physically separated, when we gather in this way, I know we are in this together, and I feel the collective support we have for one another. Take it easy after the session. Give space for the energy to continue to work. If you can, keep your mind quiet. If you can't, bring this presence and peace to whatever it is that you need to do. I imagine you all as beautifully balanced beings right now, and that makes me smile.